Good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago. I'm Karen Kuzia. Phillips C News is live at noon. Topping the news at this time, a 4-year-old girl is dead following an accident along Valencia stretch on Monday. Lexine Batiste died later at hospital. The accident occurred when a KISS delivery truck collided with the car that Lexine and her family were in. Witnesses said at around 8:30 p.m. the driver of a KISS delivery truck was headed west along the roadway when, on reaching the vicinity of St. Albans, the vehicle in front of the truck suddenly stopped. The delivery driver reportedly pulled right onto the next lane and collided with the car in which Lexine, along with her mother, Omega Batiste, and another occupant was a passenger. The child and the other injured were taken to the Sangre Grande Hospital. She was pronounced dead at the facility. In another incident, one woman is dead following an accident this morning, also along the Eastern Main Road, this time in Champlain. Reports are at around 6:30 this morning, the woman was crossing the road near SBCS when she was hit by a car. She died at the scene. The identity of the woman is still to be determined. In a developing story now, police were this morning in the Beetham Landfill where a fetus was discovered. CNews understands that at around 8 o'clock, officers from the Besson Street Police Station were called to the landfill after workers at the dump found the body in a large bag. Officers were said to be on the scene as recently as 11 a.m. as they awaited the arrival of the district medical officer. We will update this story as we get more information. To other news now, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley says he's willing to meet with the labor movement on Wednesday. Last Friday, members of the Trade Union Federation gathered outside the Prime Minister's office to deliver a letter requesting an audience with the Prime Minister. Dr. Rowley said he had regularly met with them and he would do so again.
If it is that I have to meet with the labor movement, I will. As a matter of fact, when I get up from this table, I'm asking my staff to ask the labor movement to meet with me on Wednesday afternoon. The labor movement to meet on Wednesday afternoon. There's no problem with me meeting with the labor movement.
Meanwhile, Public Relations Officer of the Oilfield Workers Trade Union, Ozzy Warwick, says he heard the Prime Minister's intentions to meet with the labor movement, but he wants to see it in writing. Speaking to CNews, he reiterated it was the labor movement who initiated the call to meet.
Feel something when we actually see it in writing or when we get an official call. Because remember, we wrote to him, requesting a meeting. Yeah, we wrote to him. We made a call on 4th of August, and then we wrote to him. So, we wait to hear, officially. I mean, I heard it as well over the, heard the news clip, so we wait to hear from him officially.
To other news now, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley says the discontinuation of the superfast Galicia came after the vessel's providers attempted to bully government to agree to terms and conditions that were unacceptable. The Prime Minister held a meeting with stakeholders in Tobago on Monday to hear their concerns regarding the Seabridge fiasco and the failure of the Ocean Flower 2 to arrive at these shores and to offer solutions. At the media conference after the meeting with the Tobago stakeholders affected by the troubling Seabridge, he explained again why they had to part ways with the superfast Galicia.
After 4 failed tendering processes between the PP and the current PNM government, the service providers of the superfast Galicia tried to force upon the government another process. The government was given an ultimatum in March.
That the government, while being engaged with the service provider in a contractual arrangement until October 2017, that the government would provide to the service provider a 5-year contract without tender.
The ultimatum came with a threat that the superfast Galicia be withdrawn, but the terms could not be agreed upon.
No minister in any government of Trinidad and Tobago that is looking after the interests of the people of Trinidad and Tobago and who acknowledges that there ought to be a procurement process that can stand scrutiny and that there be competition for the service, could have accepted those terms by a service provider.
Based on the time available, Dr. Rowley said, the barge was the best they could have done at the time. Ian Wason, CNews.
This is the CNews Live report at noon. Remember, you can keep up to date with all the latest news on our website at ctvtt.com, or you can check out our Facebook and Twitter pages at CNews Live. Opposition leader Kamla Persad-Bissessar says the Prime Minister has failed to provide answers to the country on the ferry scandal. In a release on Monday evening, the opposition leader said the Prime Minister could not answer how a company not registered in Trinidad and Tobago could be given this charter party by the government. She said he could not answer whether advances were paid, whether there were any finder's fees, legal fees, or any other fees, and to whom were these fees paid, and who took the decision to lease and on what basis. The opposition leader called on the Prime Minister to accept responsibility for this debacle and take immediate action to preserve the integrity of the investigatory process by removing the Port Authority Board and the Line Minister Rohan Sinanan forthwith while the matter is under investigation. Well, financial analyst David Walker says he's not satisfied that the issues surrounding the ferry fiasco were addressed in the Prime Minister's meeting with stakeholders in Tobago yesterday. Speaking in a phone interview on Good Morning Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. Walker said many questions were left unanswered.
I don't believe he's put forward solutions. For me to have been happy to come away satisfied, I wanted to see some documents. I wanted much more clarity about what is to happen going forward. So there were too many times when the Prime Minister had to say, I don't have that information. And too often it was information that really should be in the public domain. It shouldn't even be about information on the Prime Minister's desk. It should be information in the public domain.
Mr. Walker, however, commended the Prime Minister for acknowledging that the procurement of the Ocean Flower 2 passenger vessel was not above board.
I applaud him for being forthright in that matter. I am assuming that when he said that, he also meant it about the current acquisition. I have listened to the recording, and I am not entirely sure, but let's give the benefit of the doubt and say that he meant with respect to both acquisitions, you know, the Galicia, the Cabo Star, and so on.
And he called on the Prime Minister to be thorough with the ferry investigation.
What I would like from the Prime Minister is something very simple, actually. It is a commitment that we will follow the terms of the procurement legislation that he himself just took through Parliament with respect to all such acquisitions.
Say that again?
So it shouldn't be about sitting down and working out what we need to do in this case or in that case. We have a framework. He took it through Parliament. Let's just follow it. And I think that will answer 90% of the queries from people like myself.
Well, less than 24 hours after the Prime Minister sat down with stakeholders concerning the issues affecting the sea bridge, there were more frustrations for those hoping to leave Tobago by boat this morning. This as the Trinidad and Tobago Express failed to sail from Scarborough at 6:30. Head of Communications at Trinidad and Tobago Inter-Island Transportation Limited, Vilma Lewis Coburn, confirmed that the boat had electrical issues. She also confirmed that passengers were asked to disembark the vessel. CNews understands this occurred at around 10:30 a.m. Officials have said, however, that they believe the problem can be fixed and the boat will sail today. CNews understands that the Prime Minister's detail was on the TNT Express this morning. On that note, the Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley, announced on Monday that the Port Authority has been ordered to expand its search for a new vessel in the shortest possible time to service the Trinidad-Tobago sea route. Ian Wason has more in this report.
After the termination of the Ocean Flower 2 contract, the government is not leaving the sea bridge on demand. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley, speaking to reporters at the Magdalena Grand Hotel, said the Port Authority has been given a mandate.
Given the surprising failure of the arrival of the Ocean Flower, which did not pass muster to be able to provide us with the anticipated service, the port would be working overtime, going out using the widest spectrum of call wherever vessels are available, from owners and from brokers, to find an appropriate vessel in the shortest possible time.
With this search, however, there should be no boundaries, no limitations.
The government has instructed the port to open the search in the widest possible way and in the quickest possible time get a vessel here.
Dr. Rowley confirmed that Cabinet has already decided on tendering for a vessel, aiming for a 2 to 3 year contract. The Prime Minister said Cabinet has also decided on having a vessel built to be owned by Trinidad and Tobago and operated by the Port Authority. Ian Wason, C News.
It's now time for your weather. For the period this afternoon and tonight, Trinidad is expected to be mostly hot and sunny with light brief showers in a few areas. There is a low chance of a heavy shower or thunder shower favoring western Gulf areas. Tonight is expected to be generally clear. In the event of a heavy shower or thunder shower, street or flash flooding is likely in areas so prone. As for Tobago and the remainder of the Lesser Antilles, they can expect generally sunny conditions with a chance of a light or moderate shower in a few areas. Seas are expected to be slight to normal with waves 1.5 meters to 2 meters in open waters and less than 1 meter in sheltered areas. The search continues for a third day for missing hiker Richard Baird. Mr. Baird went missing while heading to the Hollis waterfall on Saturday. And up to this morning, his son Kern Baird said another search would be conducted for his father by a group of hikers as well as members of the protective services. Citizens who fall within the TTPS Northeastern Division may soon find themselves members of neighborhood watch groups. Last evening, the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service outreach program made its way to Fabo Village in San Juan. Residents of San Juan and environs were invited to share their concerns. Among the proposed measures which the TTPS is hoping to activate soon, enlisting the help of the community in the form of neighborhood watch groups.
One of my big projects for 2017 is the formation of neighborhood watch groups in the Northeastern Division. I'll be working very, very closely with all the members seated at this table here, targeting those communities where there are major challenges and forming active neighborhood watch groups in all those communities.
He said that they'll move to establish the groups in the Central Division also. September 21, 2017 has been set as the trial date for the court to judicially review the decision of the Children's Life Fund Authority to withhold funding for 2 sick children in need of treatment abroad. Attorney Gerald Ramdeen for claimants Wayne Sturge and Kamla Prasad Visesa in this matter said following another hearing on Monday, an extension was again provided to the state's attorney, Senior Counsel Reginald Armour, to file their affidavit. This, Mr. Ramdeen said, was an area of concern for him.
Was represented by Mr. Reginald Armour, indicated that they were not yet in a position to file their affidavits in response to the affidavits of the claimant. They asked for an extension of time they asked for an extension of time until the end of the week. I expressed a certain degree of dissatisfaction with the pace at which the proceedings were, with the pace at which the state was taking, at the time that the state was taking to file their affidavits. And the matter, directions were given for the state to file their affidavit by Friday, and the matter has been set for trial on the 21st of September.
The lawsuit against the state, brought by UNC Senator Wayne Sturge, is aimed at getting the court to quash the policy and decision of the authority to refuse funding to the 2 children. Well, we start with news of cricket. Chris Gayle and Evan Lewis smashed 50s as they guided the St. Kitts Patriots to the Caribbean Premier League playoffs on Monday night. It's the first time the Patriots have ever advanced to the playoffs in the CPL's 4-year history. Lewis was the early aggressor, hitting 5 4s and 6 6s as he blazed his way to 69. But then Gayle opened up his shoulders gradually as he raised his 50 off a relatively sedate 46 balls before unleashing a late blitz to reach 71. The Patriots posted a massive 208, the highest score in the competition this year. It proved the mountain too high for Gayle's former franchise, the Jamaica Tallawahs, who could only muster 171 in response. Tevon Griffith tried his best, hitting 42 at the top of the innings as they attempted the huge chase. But his effort and a late salvo from Rovman Powell were not enough as they were pegged back regularly by the Patriots bowlers, led by Mohammed Shamsi's 3 wickets. Well, this country's under-17 women's footballers will be in action from Wednesday when the Caribbean Football Union's World Cup qualifiers begin. Coming to do battle with the Women Warriors are Grenada, U.S. Virgin Islands and Curacao. Head coach Jamal Shabazz is expecting a tough tournament for his girls.
We had before developed at U12, so this is new to these girls. So I won't say that it's a stroll in the park going into CFU. I think Isla Brown is now coaching the U.S. Virgin Islands. She's one of us. Grenada has done some good work in women's football, and so have Curacao.
He says it has been challenging and enjoyable all at the same time as he prepared the girls for battle.
Well, it was easier to fall back into the under-20 and the senior women's session. Again, the under-17 girls is a totally different kettle of fish. Beginner players, very passionate though, and you know, very, very impressed with the effort and the determination and the spirit of the girls.
While the University of Trinidad and Tobago UTT missed the chance to secure the 4th and final Big Four spot on Sunday when they lost to the unbeaten Defence Force by just 3 points at the Jean Pair Sports Complex. Jeffrey Harris led the way with 20 points, but it wasn't enough for the students.
The game started with buckets hard to come by as both teams found scoring very difficult, as if the buckets were covered with some kind of lid. But then Stephen Lytle-Lewis scored this turnaround jumper to take the score to 26-13 in the second quarter. UTT managed just 10 first quarter points. Fast forward to the second half where Boxers scored this 3 to put the Army up 44-33. But then UTT found their scoring touch in the third, as if switching sides at half-time really worked out for them. Jeffrey Harris with a second chance point off the Brandon Kelly miss. The score now 38-48. And the UTT went on a 15-5 run. Harris tying the score here at 53. The students found their game, nice ball movement before the basket from Lazaro Campbell. 56-57, Defence Force still on top. Then Denzel Jennings for a UTT 59-57 lead. Jamil King scored 10 points, 3 of them coming here for the Army to open up a 3-point lead. But with 3 seconds on the clock and down by 3, Harris just missed the chance to send the game into overtime and feel their pain. Defence Force holding on for a 74-71 win.
We love how intense Army does play. They're aggressive, they does foul, you know, they does play a more physical game. And with that now, no other team does play as aggressive as them. So all other teams we come up against, they are coming really good because they realize we match the intensity, we match the aggression tonight. We almost had it at the end, you know, but hey, it's not losses, it's just lessons and lessons. So we're learning as we go on.
UTT and the Clippers play on Saturday for the final post-season spot. Ian Rayson, C Sports.
Well, a sad turn of events for 2 Bajan cyclists preparing for the upcoming Elite Pan Am Championships here in TNT from August 30th through September 3rd. The talented Jamal Eastman and countryman Edwin Sunderland were involved in a road accident involving a maxi taxi while training in Chaguaramas this morning. Around 9 o'clock, the two were putting in some early morning road work when things took a turn for the worst. Unconfirmed reports suggest that the maxi was overtaking another vehicle in the vicinity of the Royal Bank in Chaguaramas and ran into the cyclists who were coming in the opposite direction and had actually pulled off the road when they saw the danger, but was still struck by the swerving maxi taxi. Both bicycles sustained heavy damage, but the main concern is with the 2 riders, one of whom, Jamal Eastman, sustained head injuries when he crashed into the vehicle's windscreen. Sunderland is said to have sustained minor bruises. And that's how we end our C News report at noon. I'm Karen Kose-Phillip. Remember, for up-to-date and breaking news throughout the day, you can visit the C News website at ctvtt.com. Do have a good afternoon.